Hey folks, Scott Powell here again with another History of Tomorrow and 14 Points Daily. Today I'm going to talk about the 14 points, and in the sense that they're a real historical milestone in human history, as some of you surely know. The 14 points was a declaration issued by President Woodrow Wilson, and in the context of World War I. And they are a critical milestone in the evolution from the United States away from its traditional policy of political separation as embodied by the Declaration of Independence and Washington's Farewell Address and the Monroe Doctrine. And so what happened is in World War I, of course, there were many provocations, none of them worthy of actually resulting in a declaration of war by the United States. But Woodrow Wilson had something else in mind about what he wanted America to be. He was reelected as president on the slogan, "He kept us out of war." So that clearly showed that what the American people wanted. But Wilson wanted something else. And eventually, of course, he came out with it. He had these various excuses. People talk about things like submarine warfare and the Zimmerman telegram and a number of things that seem to have triggered America's response when it comes to joining the war. But if you listen closely to Woodrow Wilson, it is clear what is going on and what the consequences are going to be, because Woodrow Wilson explains, look, our ships have been sunk, but the ships of other nations have been sunk too. And when somebody makes a rhetorical statement like that, you know that it's the part after the but that matters. And Wilson goes on over and over again to, he rehearses this point that there is an international need and that the United States has to meet that need. And so in the 14 points, then, he elaborates on what he thinks the new world order should look like. It's a world of internationalism, and in particular of political entanglement for the United States. And he thinks America should join the world order as a member of what he intends to be the League of Nations, and then become immersed in the affairs of others rather than separate from them. And so this is a momentous change in America's posture towards the world. Now, Wilson, I don't characterize the 14 points as a doctrine in history, because a doctrine is something that has to be adopted and relied upon for generations. And the Monroe Doctrine is really the only one that fits the bill, other than the later Truman Doctrine, which of course was the basis of America's conduct during the Cold War. So I would say there really are only two doctrines. The word doctrine is overused. There's a lot of conceptual inflation there to refer to either the Reagan Doctrine or the Bush Doctrine or whatever. I think that's nonsense. Basically, the only two doctrines that have ever been have been the Monroe Doctrine and the Truman Doctrine. And then in between we have Wilson, but Wilson doesn't qualify for a doctrine. Why? Because his policy of entangling the United States was actually immediately repudiated by the American people in the 1920 election. And the platform of Wilson was, I think for health reasons, not able to run again. Even if he had, I think he would have lost the job. What happened was Warren Harding came along as the American representative, and he put forward an America First policy. And also his slogan was return to normalcy. And the American people embraced that. They did not want to be entangled in Europe's politics. And indeed, afterwards, the United States did not join the League of Nations. So there was a period, very delicate period, in which the United States was intent upon restoring its separation from Europe. Of course, as we know, the results of many entanglements that America itself had enacted, such as the seizure of the Philippines in the Spanish-American War and of Guam, essentially made the United States a neighbor of Japan, and the Japanese could not gamble on what the United States was going to do, which of course resulted in the Pearl Harbor attack. And so therefore the United States was dragged into World War II and might not conceivably might not have joined if that attack had not happened. I think probably would have nonetheless. But anyway, so the 14 points is this milestone. You can read the 14 points, a famous speech, and it talks about all of Woodrow Wilson's proposals for a new world order. So that's, the simple way I came upon the title of the novel, because as you will see, there will be a President Wilson, I won't say too much, and there will be a 14 points issued, but it's not going to be what we know the 14 points to be, and that's going to be part of the Herodotus Foundation's efforts to change history, to save history. So anyway, let's stop there for now. Now you know, for those of you that didn't before, the 14 points is literally a speech given by Woodrow Wilson, and that's the reason why I chose the name of the book. Of course, there's so much more to it. History can't be deflected merely at the start of the 20th century. That is not a way that could salvage history. So I'll say no more because I'm in danger of spoiling things. Anyway, thanks a lot. See you soon.